Hi, welcome to Close Up on San Diego Business, where we get up close and personal with homegrown San Diego businesses and the people that are making a difference in our community. I'm your host, Barry Waxler, President and CEO of Universal Financial Consultants Corporation, where we teach people how money works every day. Knowledge is power, and understanding how the institutional world works gives you the competitive edge you need to succeed. Along with me today are my co-hosts, Urban Miyares, founder and chairman of Challenged America, an adaptive and therapeutic sailing program, and from our own financialnewsandtalk.com, the lovely and talented Andrea Kaye.
Oh, thank you so much. Thrilled to be here. Hey, Urban.
Hi there. Good to be back in San Diego.
Yay. You were in what? You were in Dallas this weekend?
Oh, it was an exciting time. Spoke to over 4,000 recently wounded troops and disabled vets. We had more Medal of Honor winners there. My wife said there was more silver, full metal jackets there than you'd want to shake a stick at.
Oh,
yeah,
goodness.
It was just unbelievable.
That's great.
Unbelievable
Wonderful.
time. Yeah.
So you got some time up on stage to talk to everyone?
I did. It was just wonderful, and I introduced the combat medic that found me alive in a body bag. First time he's ever been on stage.
Oh, wow. I wish I could have been there to hear.
It was something. And of course, celebrities. Gary Sinise was there. Good seeing Gary again. And Tony Orlando. I got to meet Tony, and it's 40 years since "Tie a Yellow Ribbon" was first sung at the Cotton Bowl.
Really? Did he sing it? Did he perform?
He did. He did, and it brought back a lot of memories of the POWs coming back in 1973. It was truly wonderful and wonderful people there. Tammy won it. Winona Judd was there, and I met Corinne Campbell, and a country singer that's just up and coming. Oh, what a sweetheart! I'm in love with her.
Really?
Oh, yeah. She's unbelievable.
Well, lucky for them that they got to meet you. That's what I say.
You're so kind. You're so kind. But
Tony Orlando had said something to you. You were talking about doing your life story, didn't he?
Tony heard me speak and said, you should do some public speaking. You should do some radio. You should become a professional public speaker. And I talked to him and his agent, and he said, your life story. How come no one's done a movie on you yet?
That's a good point. That's a good point idea.
They were most kind, and I was most humbled being in the company of all the Medal of Honor winners, including the most recent ones. I can't tell you how emotional it was to be there. It was just wonderful.
Yeah,
really,
I hope if they do make a movie of your life that Gary Sinise plays you in the movie.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Wouldn't that be special? Just to put it out there to the universe.
Well, we've known each other since 1994 when I received National Disabled Veteran of the Year, and he got the award from Disabled American Veterans for Lieutenant Dan as in the movie Forrest Gump. So that was
Yeah. Wow.
What a great time I had this past weekend.
Well, if they ever make a movie about you, Barry, who do you want to play you?
I was thinking Danny DeVito.
There we go. I was thinking more in line to Brad Pitt. But, so if they make a movie about me, I'll let Danny DeVito play the role.
Hey, you know what? I say if they ever make a movie about you, who cares who plays it? You're getting a movie made about you.
You're a sweetheart. You're a sweetheart. So I'll make sure you're in the movie too then.
Thank you, Urban.
Okay, Andrew.
So
we're ready.
Yep. So, hey, Urban, we have another event coming up later this month that I thought we'd talk about too. You and I have been invited up to the W up in Hollywood.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
For Monos Accelerator. Okay.
Now, what is that? Are you speaking French?
No. You know what? I don't know what Monos. Do you know what Monos means?
Manos a manos.
Manos. Okay.
Yeah.
So but I do know the Accelerator is a program where it helps startup businesses, and this one's focused solely on the Latino community.
Oh, that's the word monos.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and with
Fabulous.
there's some great people behind this one. I got introduced to it by one of my clients, David Lopez. David has, as I read in a Forbes article, David has the #1 startup in the history of our country here.
Really? Which is?
Jennifer Lopez, his daughter. Okay.
Yeah, well, he really started something when he had her, because
Yeah.
I'm telling you, she's pretty fabulous, pretty amazing.
Yeah, so they did a startup. It's based on helping the Latino community, who has been underserved in the technology and the startups, and there are a lot of issues that they're dealing with. But it's focused strictly on helping Latinos get started in business that are a select type, and they're going out for venture capital to help generate the money for it. They're doing everything they need for the Latino community, and it's all based on technology. So they've narrowed it down from 75 down to, I think, 7 startups right now, and they've gotten Google entrepreneurs involved, Nissan, and of course Jennifer Lopez and her production company. Yeah. I think she's starting her own television network.
Well, yeah, I mean, she's, talk about a Latina startup. I mean, not just as an actress, but she's just an incredible entrepreneur, from restaurants into, producing TV shows and other things in other countries. But I'm curious that is it kind of like Shark Tank, to where people come and they present an idea that they've got for a product or service to look for investors? How does it work?
That's interesting. They had people submit their ideas via the web. They reviewed the ideas, then they got into a lot more detail. It's not just David. There's also Ed Avila and Sylvia Flores. Those are the 3 founders of the company, and they've gone out and really done their homework, because they've all had startups and sold them off. It ultimately sold off.
Well, I know, Barry, when I first started, being Cuban, we had no money available to us.
Oh, you're Cubano?
Yes,
no wonder I like you.
Hermano Miyares. But it was, we had to rely on family and friends. And, the amount of money we get, if we needed anything more than $10, it was not there. It was not there for us.
You're listening to Close Up on San Diego Business here on KFSD AM 1450 and financialnewsandtalk.com. I'm your host, Barry Waxler, here with co-hosts Andrea Kaye and Urban Miyares. So we're talking about Manos. We're going up to the W. It's actually a red carpet event, something you're well familiar with, I believe, Urban.
Well, I'm ready to shine my shoes and walk on that carpet.
Okay,
we're ready to go.
What are you going to wear then? Who will you be wearing? That's always the question.
I'm colorblind, so I can't tell you.
Yeah.
My seeing eye dog will help me pick that out. So.
Yeah. Hey, tell us about when you were in Dallas. It was Crockett and Luca.
Luca, a military dog. I had the leg blown off, or IED. And Luca is a big shepherd. Probably had his leg, he'd be over 100 pounds. And
oh my goodness!
They were in love with one another. Luca's a female dog and a shepherd, and of course my seeing eye dog is a male dog, and they were lovebirds there, and it was just wonderful being around them. They were great together.
Kind of reminds me of that cartoon where the dog shared the spaghetti. What was that Disney movie? Oh, I don't know.
Oh, that was like 101 Dalmatians. Or
something like that. Oh, I just loved it. And you know what? The military dogs are heroes, just like everybody. Our military men and women.
People have no idea what these working canines do for us. And unfortunately, in Vietnam, they didn't come back. Over 4,000 were served, and I believe most of them were either killed or died in combat. And now it's different. They come home, they're adopted, and in most cases, they're wonderful pets. Just don't do well on 4th of July for obvious reasons.
Yeah,
that's interesting. Not too many people think of, at least I don't think of, going to war with animals with you. But that's got to be a great help to our troops.
Yes, they are. They're more than man's best friend. They're with us in combat. I can't say enough about what they do, the trainers and the service that canines do for our men and women overseas today.
And the actual missions, too, not just the emotional, mental support. I mean, they actually are involved in the missions themselves, correct?
Oh, they are. They sniff out bombs. They'll find the enemy that are hiding, or snipers hate them. Because they'll send them out in the field just ahead of us, just to look for people that shouldn't be there. Mm-hmm. They're great.
Good.
Great animals. Great service to our country. They truly are, and they're honored. Highly honored. Luca was the show, and of course everybody's coming on. Is that a military dog? And oh no, that's my eyes. I'm sorry.
Yeah. They were wanting to recruit her.
Yeah. Oh, well, the kids, they just love the animals, and it's a drawing card. Yeah.
Well, we have some exciting guests today.
Yeah. Speaking of entrepreneurs,
that's what this is all about. I mean, Urban's background, heavy entrepreneurial. My background, heavy entrepreneurial. So we wanted to bring that entrepreneurial spirit on air with us. So we're going to have our first guest, Bridget Ayers, come on in just a few minutes here.
Yeah, she's a really interesting gal in terms of, her background and why she started her own business, which is an internet marketing business. We'll let her tell you all the fabulous details. And it also just ties in so great with that Monos Accelerator. You're going to keep us informed on the weeks coming as to who got chosen and what the project's going to be. How many winners are there going to be?
Well, there are seven businesses that seven startups that they've focused on right now. And, they're all technology based. Some are up in the Silicon Valley. Some are down in South America. And I haven't gotten to meet any of them yet. All I know is because it's Monos Accelerated, it's focused on the Latino community, that we're going to have everything focused around the Lopez community when we go up there. I think we've got, and I don't know if it's true or not, but it was supposedly Jennifer Lopez, George Lopez, and Mario Lopez, who's one of our local San Diego celebrities.
All fabulous. So each and every one a fabulous Lopez amongst themselves, but together, that's a trifecta.
Yeah.
That's a trifecta of gorgeous Lopez-ness.
Yeah. Yeah, well, David has plenty of that in his family, believe me.
Yeah, because she's got some sisters that are pretty gorgeous, too. So
yeah.
Anyway, how exciting for you to get to go to that.
Great. Well, you're listening to Close Up on San Diego Business, where we get up close and personal with homegrown San Diego businesses and the people that are working to make a difference in our community. This is financialnewsandtalk.com, and I'm your host, Barry Waxler. We'll be right after the break with more homegrown business Close Up. Hi, this is Barry Waxler, your host of Close Up on San Diego Business, where we get close up and personal with San Diego business and the people that are making a difference in our community. Stop Bleeding Cash is the name of my new book. It describes the 6 ways that individuals and small business owners lose money without even knowing it. And more importantly, how to stop the bleeding. You work so hard for the money you earn. Learn to know exactly what to do to stop the bleeding from taxes, home loans, credit card debt, insurance premiums, business expenses, and healthcare expenses. Learn what the institutions know, how money works, and how you can avoid the pitfalls of poor planning while getting the maximum spendability of your money. Get online at www.barrywaxler.com and get your copy of Stop Bleeding Cash. Or call my office today and get your copy at 1-800-341-5433. Again, that's 1-800-341-5433. I know you'll say what so many of my new clients tell me over the years. Why didn't my advisor tell me that?
Taking care of business. Woo! Taking care of business. Taking care of business. Taking care of business.
Welcome back to Close Up on San Diego Business, where we're looking at homegrown businesses close up. I'm your host, Barry Waxler, and I'm here on financialnewsandtalk.com, AM 1450, with Andrea, Kaye, and Urban Miyares. Our guest today is Bridget Ayers. Bridget, you're with the WorkSpace in Carlsbad, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Well, tell me a little bit about your company. I find it interesting. I've seen other companies. You have a different twist on yours. Tell me a little bit about the WorkSpace.
Well, we opened up the WorkSpace in June, and part of the reason we opened up this 3,800 square foot co-working, shared office, event space is really because I had a need. I own a digital marketing company, and I have for about 6 years, and I needed to be closer to the people that work for me. Most of my workforce are telecommuters. So I looked around to see what options were out there. I had been in executive spaces before. I'd been in a corporate office for 6 years before I started my company. And I really wanted something cool. I wanted something creative. And I love companies like Google and Twitter and Facebook and their work environments for their employees. I thought was awesome. So I looked around for it and I couldn't find it. So I said, all right, honey, I started this with my husband. I said, guess what? We're opening a co-working space. And
Well, tell me what's different about the workspace versus the typical executive suite environment.
well, in an executive suite, just like a corporate office, you get your own office, you shut the door, and you do your work. And most home-based businesses, startups, entrepreneurs, those people who start in their garages or their home office or in their living room, they'll tell you, I can shut the door, I'm just fine. But it doesn't allow you to get out there and get creative, collaborate, network. And I love networking events, and I go to those. I'm very active in the chambers, but I'd like to work and network at the same time. I'll grab a cup of coffee, talk to you, say, how's work going, and then go back and do my business. So executive suites, I think, isolate you still. And in co-working, our open workspace, you go in and you work around other people. And we have couches and chairs and tables and different ways to work.
Interesting. I was back in Pennsylvania, I think it was April, and I got a tour of a company that I thought was technologically ahead of its time. It was a company called SEI, and they're large, and they manage hundreds of billions of dollars for clients as a third-party money manager. And they had 1,800 employees in a little town called Oaks, Pennsylvania, in an open architecture facility. The open architecture meant the CEO all the way down to the newest employee was sitting in the same environment. I thought that was interesting. And what I get out of you is if I come to your facility, I'm going to be able to network more. It's more than just getting work done. How does that work? How do people really interact in your environment?
You know, it's interesting because when you're at home and you're working on things, you kind of get caught up in the minutia of your work, right? So it's just, I got to answer phone calls, I've got to answer emails, I've got to, do the bookkeeping. I get caught up in the minutia. And really, to see business thrive, and we know that a lot of businesses fail in those first 2 years. And, there are a lot of reasons that businesses fail, but I think part of it is the support structure. In your first couple of years when you're starting out, maybe even in your first 5 years, you can't afford to have that support network around you.
Right.
You're not hiring people to help you, grow your business. When you're in a co-working environment, and right now we have people that are have marketing companies. We have a mobile doctor down there. We have a gentleman writing a book on branding. We have real estate. We have all sorts of people that are coming in there. And I really like that you're coming from a different style business, but you're able to talk about what you're doing
right.
and really kind of creative together.
Are there any industries, you just mentioned such a diverse group of people, from doctors to authors. Is there any industry that wouldn't benefit from this? I can't think of any.
I don't think any industry. It might be a different business platform. If you're a business person who's on the phone a lot, then you might not be in our space as much. But I think you have to put down that phone sometimes to really look at your business, to grow the business. So the co-working environment, and it's not for everyone. I understand that. We have meeting rooms there, and then we have shared offices. But for me, the co-working is about getting out, getting collaborative, creative. And the referral-based business also, I'm getting to know people on a personal level. And we all know that you like doing business with people you like, right? And I'll refer business to people I like and I think that are good at their jobs. When I'm networking, I can't see your passion. I'm talking to more people and, you get 5 minutes with somebody. But when I see them in the co-working space, I get to kind of be a part of their business. And, when they're having a question about HR, or they have a marketing question, or they have a question about this or that, hey, I know somebody, talk to so-and-so. And I just see a lot more synergy,
Interesting.
a lot more excitement.
So you get to actually tap into human resources, if you will. Corporations, their number one resource and asset is their people. And by being in a coworker space, you get to kind of take advantage of that without having them on the payroll.
Absolutely. I don't want you to take too much advantage of it.
Well,
but
right. Oh, shoot, there's limitations?
But, I thought, when I was in finance, after I think in my second year, I got a business coach. And I became part of a mastermind group. And that mastermind group, it pushed me to the next level because I was around people who were doing big creative things, and it just got my brain working. It got me excited. And so for me, co-working is a lot like that. I get to talk to people and I hear what they're doing and I get excited about what I'm doing, and then you get to work and you're like, all right, this is good. So I really like that energy, and I think that's what I want I like coming to work, and that's the whole point. I like coming here.
That's great. That's great. You're listening to Close Up on San Diego Business here on KFSD AM 1450 and financialnewsandtalk.com. I'm your host, Barry Waxler, here with co-hosts Andrea, Kaye, Urban Miyares, and our guest, Bridget Ayers. So tell me, why wouldn't this seems like it would be a great environment, even if I had my own office in one part of town, if I wanted to have a co-location. I remember when I had a technology business many years ago, we would co-locate our equipment with all the other equipment at One Wilshire or over in Dallas at the Infomart, what have you. You know, here I see a great advantage to putting satellite locations over there, and would help on a number of things. Does that work?
Absolutely. I think, and we've talked to insurance, for instance. We have some insurance companies where they have people all over, and they say, well, if we put somebody in here, you know, they can come in and work and be around other people. We also have meeting rooms, and part of the other reason I opened it was because of the coffee shop craze. I mean, everybody is doing business in coffee shops, and, you know, I think that's great. They found a new revenue stream where they get all of us doing business in there, but they're loud. They're not private. Some of the conversations and it's not professional.
Right.
So even if you had another office, and let's say you have a small office because that's your first, you know, you can afford maybe a little shoebox that you kind of put your desk in, and you're like, okay, this is my office. Do you want to meet clients there? Do you want to have, you know, group meetings there? So we have a training room that seats up to 35. We have 3 different conference rooms, anywhere from 2 to 11 people. You get to write on the walls. Your mom told you not to. I'm going to tell you to do it. And what we wanted to do is say, you know, even if you have a location, if you want an off-site meeting or you want to get out of your space, that yes, you could come into ours. And
you could set this up. I assume it would be easy enough to Skype and do all the webcams and have all kinds of virtual meetings as well. Urban, I think this would be great to set up the board meetings for Challenged America.
It'd be wonderful through the organization. You know, I service, I get hundreds of inquiries that people want to start businesses. And, of course, today everybody's starting a home-based business. And I tell them, you know, in your planning, include going to a facility like this on a regular basis. I don't care if it's once a week or once every other week. It's not only good for you to get in that business environment and get out of the house with all the distractions. I know you block a time aside and you're going to do the business at home, but you got to get out. It's not only for meeting other people and networking, but it's for personal productivity. It helps your new day. I love starting the week out, getting dressed up, going to the office. Even if you work the rest of the week at home, you have this as part of your routine. It's critical. It's important for success of your business.
Yeah.
You know, and other people do see you working. I got to give you that too. Other people do see you working. So it's not like you can sit there and kind of, so there is a little bit of accountability there. And I think sometimes just changing your space at home, you get a bit isolated, you get stuck in doing the same routine. So I think you're right. I think,
but there is an etiquette though. You got to take the pajamas off when you come to the office.
but you can keep the slippers on.
Oh,
and the
great.
slipper, the cooler, the better. I love it. I love it.
Well, we'll have to talk to one of our other guests today about how we make sure we ensure everybody with the slippers on in their office. So, interesting. So, tell me a little bit about how somebody would get involved with the workspace. Different types of packages. What are you looking for different types of customers?
Well, I looked at a few different models for the workspaces, the co-working platform, and one model is that you're a monthly member. And I like that, but at the same time, if I'm not always at that space and I'm paying for it, then I thought, wow, you know, I don't know if I have the value in it. So in our model, what we did is you can buy hours. So you could drop in and pay an hourly rate, or you can buy hours in bulk and then your hours get cheaper. And they never expire, so we're not like your phone companies. And then you come in, and we only charge for 5 hours a day. So if you just want, you know, someplace you can go, and maybe 1 week, you know, you're here 5 hours, next week you're here 10 hours, and you can kind of come and go as you like. So we have those packages. For people who want to work off hours, so we have a lot of tech people. And some people, like the mobile doctor, he's out all day, but before 9 a.m. or after 5 p.m. he wants to work. We have monthly membership packages, and they get 24/7 access, their own desk. And then we also have kind of mid-range packages. If you need a lot of meetings in your space, For me, it's about the community, so we're pretty open on how we let people use the space. And if you need a quick meeting, you just call us up. Is the room open? Which room do you have? And then we kind of just pop you into it.
Well, you know that businesses like yours are so critical for people that deal with customers. It's part of your branding and image building. That's what it is. Otherwise, everybody knows you're working from the home.
Absolutely. And you can have your mail delivered. So we have mail service.
Awesome. Tell us, before we run out of time here, tell us how we get in touch with you. How can somebody find you or find information about you? Tell us about that.
Well, our website is getsmartworkspaces.com. My name is Bridget Ayers, and I do own Get Smart Web. I'm pretty easy to find online. I'm on Twitter and Facebook. We are, located actually right below the radio station, so that's pretty easy to find us. But Get Smart Workspaces is the fastest way.
Great.
Yeah, just check us out.
And people can come take a tour, right?
Absolutely. And like I said, 9 to 5, drop in, check it out. And typically the first visit, we'll let you spend the day in there for free to kind of feel it out and see how it is. Because, we want to see that it's a new concept, and I understand that. So come in, spend a day with us, hang out, coffee, Wi-Fi, tea, it's all free. Even when you pay your hourly, you get all that free.
Great. Well, I'll remind the listeners, check Bridget Ayers out at www.getsmartworkspaces.com.
Yep.
Great. Well, you're listening to Close Up on San Diego Business, where we get up close and personal with homegrown San Diego businesses and the people that are working to make a difference in our community. This is financialnewsandtalk.com. I'm your host, Barry Waxler. We'll be right after the break with more homegrown business Close Up.
Taking care of business. We've been taking care of business. We've been taking care of business. Taking care of business. Taking care of
Ask yourself this question. Are you bleeding cash? You work so hard for your money and you don't have the time to figure out what to do with it. Don't fear, you're not alone. That's how it is for most people, and we tend to only have a vague sense that we're bleeding cash, but we can't put our finger on the problem. It's frustrating when you look at taxes, credit cards, home loans, healthcare expenses, business expenses, and insurance premiums. Those are the 6 most common bleeding points, and we set ourselves up to favor the lenders, the insurance companies, and most dominantly, the government. That's exactly why I wrote my new book, Stop Bleeding Cash. Now you can learn in an easy-to-read and easier-to-digest format straight from my office to you. Let me show you how to stop the bleeding. You may need to take a minute to think outside the box, but once you do, you'll never look back. Let me ask you one simple question. If you could know the exact day that your retirement plan would suffer its greatest loss ever, when would you like to know? Certainly not the day after it happens. Read my book and find out. Then you'll start learning how money works and how you can increase the spendability of your money. To get your copy, visit my website at www.barrywaxler.com or email me at bwaxler@barrywaxler.com. You'll never know how much you can save until you take the first step. Call my office today at 1-800-341-5433 or visit the website at barrywaxler.com.
taking care of business. Woo! Taking care of business. Taking care of business. Taking
Welcome back to Close Up on San Diego Business, where we're looking at homegrown businesses close up. I'm your host, Barry Waxler, here on financialnewsandtalk.com with Andrea Kaye and Urban Miyares. Our next guest today, we're proud to have Amy Vapnek. Did I pronounce your name?
Yes, you did.
Good.
Thank you.
Good. Amy's with Senior Home Care Connections. So, Amy, you provide in-care home. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, we are a non-medical in-home care agency. We provide care to seniors that would like to stay in their homes anywhere from 2 hours a day to 24 hours. And we make sure that the clients are safe, that they are active, and that they're happy to be in their homes.
Great. So you do the in-home care, and it's everything. It's everything short of the skilled nursing care
Correct.
and the intermediate care. It's predominantly custodial care. just for those people that aren't able to do a lot of their own functions of daily living activities.
Correct.
So great. Well, tell me, how did you get started in this business?
Well, I was managing a company for 3 or 4 years, and then I met my partner in this business, who was a geriatric psychologist, and she started giving us referrals, and we worked really well together. So we decided that we needed to open up our own company.
Mm-hmm. Great. And you've been doing this for 15 years now?
Yes.
Wonderful. Tell me a little bit about you. We were talking before the show about the bill that Governor Brown just signed into law. So tell me a little bit about that and what your challenges are there.
Well, the bill is AB 241. Last year, Governor Brown had the same bill on his desk, and he vetoed it, so we were all happy in the home care industry. This year, he signed it. And the problem with that is there's always been an exemption for caregivers, home care caregivers in the home, for overtime. And with this new bill, that is discontinued. So what that means is if we have live-in caregivers and live-in clients, then we have no choice. We'd have to charge them overtime after 9 hours and then overtime during the evening hours. And my clients would never be able to afford all that overtime.
Right. So you need some support on how to deal with this bill. So in essence, it's going to, I'm not going to say it's going to put you out of business, but it's going to affect your business greatly if we don't get some attention to this.
Well, the problem is the caregivers that really love doing in-home care, 24-hour live-in, they will be on unemployment. And, our poor clients that really want to stay in their homes and the children want them to stay in their homes will have to be placed in facilities. Mm-hmm. And, the domestic bill has been, other states have passed domestic laws for care, for in the home, for caregivers. But they've exempted home care agencies because they realize that we provide a great service to seniors.
Right.
And in the state of California, they would not exempt us, even though they did exempt IHSS, which is in-home support systems, which is through the state of California, because they said it would be too expensive for them to, pay, overtime to their caregivers.
Okay, great. You are listening to Close Up on San Diego Business here on KFSD AM 1450 and FinancialNewsAndTalk.com. I'm your host, Barry Waxler, here with my co-hosts, Andrea Kaye and Urban Miyares, and our guest, Amy Vapnek with Senior Home Care Connections. Amy, tell before we go too far, because we're looking to get some attention to these sensitive issues for you. Tell the listeners how they can get a hold of you, how they can get a hold of you, how they can is it via the website, phone number? What's the best way for people to lend some help?
Well, they can contact me at my office at 858-271-8001, and I can give them the governor's fax number, his office numbers, and if a lot of people, I'm talking a lot of people, storm his office with a problem to this, maybe, just maybe, he can exempt our agencies in the state of California. There's 200 agencies just in Southern California that do non-medical work.
Wow.
How many in-home clients do you have any idea how many people this would affect?
I can't even say. I really can't. I know I'm a member of the American Board of Home Care, and there's about 30 of us, and I know that, some of those agencies primarily do 24-hour live-in. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be it's going to be terrible. It's a disaster.
Yeah, and I know I have an aging mother-in-law who desperately enjoys her independence and living at home. I'm grateful I've got a sister-in-law that's able to be with her, but so many people don't because maybe their elderly parent doesn't live in the same town. There's going to be so many people, in other words, like my mother-in-law, who's no longer going to be able to have that, be able to live at home, which is what they desperately want because of this. And that just breaks my heart.
Yeah. Well, tell me something. Here's something really important, because I've dealt with these issues in my business before. How do a lot of the retired community that needs this type of service may or may not be able to afford this? How do you deal with that? Do you have elder care attorneys that help negotiate things, or how do you or do you not get involved in that?
So that they can afford to stay in their house?
Well, it's not. No, they can afford your service, because a lot of people, if they're on a fixed income, or even if they have reasonable assets, they may not be able to afford to purchase your services. And I know that I've dealt with helping people get qualified on Medi-Cal and the VA aid and attendance. Does Medi-Cal and VA
doesn't pay for home care for non-medical agencies? They don't pay.
Okay. Interesting.
They do not pay.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I did for a client a couple years back was help them get qualified for this, which they could use some of the money for that type of service. But I guess that's a different subject altogether.
Well, there is one thing. There is a benefit for veterans that is accessible for people that do not have a lot of assets, and they do not include your home as one of your assets.
Right.
And it will give you have to apply for it. It takes about 3 or 4 months, and it is about $1,800 a month.
I think that's the
for
VA aid and
care.
attendance.
Yes.
Yeah. That's one of the
That's
programs
one thing.
we
And
did
then
for the client.
long-term care insurance offsets our cost.
Right, because long-term care insurance pays a flat fee.
They do.
Used for whatever the client needs.
Right, as far as home care.
So,
But
great.
we need people to support you, because otherwise the costs are going to be increased for people. And right?
Well, we will no longer be able to do 24-hour live-in. If this law goes into effect in January of 2014 as is, we will no longer be able to do live-in care for people. There's no way.
Interesting.
Well, loneliness is the biggest thing in the home for those who are living home alone mainly. And years go on, and your friends and network isn't there anymore for you. So important that the loneliness and services like yours are there to help the people out. I have a question to ask. Let's talk about the basics of business when you got started. How did you market? How did you get your first customers?
Because I went into business with a geriatric psychologist, we had we had our foot in a lot of doors already, and she had a networking with social workers, discharge planners from hospitals, doctors' offices, SoCare, which was UCSD SoCare. That's the Alzheimer's section of UCSD Care. And so we were able to we had clients before we opened our doors, which was crazy.
So fortunate.
I know.
Yeah, but even the time it took to knock on doors or kick the doors open with your foot, people don't realize how much time it takes just to get in this type of business. It's a people business.
It is.
And it takes time with them.
It does. You're right.
And I think people also don't necessarily understand the kind of amazing, incredible work that you provide for people's loved ones, and what it means for them to be able to stay in the home, and what it means for the children who have a parent that's receiving these services. And it's almost kind of like a calling for you, isn't it, Amy, to do this kind of work?
I love taking care of seniors. I used to love taking care of my grandfather, and then it just escalated from that. I just love them, and I love seeing that they're really content in their homes. Whether it's we're watering their flowers for them, or we're taking care of their dog or their cat, or we're taking them out to lunch.
It sounds like you give people a phenomenal peace of mind.
I think.
Well, these are hidden treasures we have in our country. Our seniors are living longer, and the wealth of information, knowledge, just the history of it is truly amazing. And I personally just hate to see it lost. It's I love sitting down and just talking with them.
I do too. I really, and getting involved with their families and their kids, their grandkids. It's just it's like we collect families in San Diego, and it's just wonderful to do that. It's just rewarding.
Wow, that's great. Hey, before we run out of time in our interview today, let's talk again how people can get in touch with you. So you have your phone number, website, email. Tell us how we get in touch with you.
Our email is shcci@cox.net. You can go on our webpage, which is seniorhomecareconnections.com, or you can call me at 858-271-8001.
Wow, that's great. Well, Amy, I appreciate you coming on, telling your story. I think that we should also connect in with some of the local attorneys in town, which can help us in the elder care law and get back to that bill. So, anyway, you are listening to Close Up on San Diego Business, where we get close up and personal with homegrown San Diego businesses and the people that are working to make a difference in our community. This is financialnewsandtalk.com, and I'm your host, Barry Waxler. We'll be back right after the break with more Homegrown Business Close Up.
Taking care of business. We've been taking care of business. We've been taking care of business.
Hi, this is Barry Waxler, your host of Close Up on San Diego Business, where we get close up and personal with San Diego business and the people that are making a difference in our community. Stop Bleeding Cash is the name of my new book. It describes the 6 ways that individuals and small business owners lose money without even knowing it. And more importantly, how to stop the bleeding. You work so hard for the money you earn. Learn to know exactly what to do to stop the bleeding from taxes, home loans, credit card debt, insurance premiums, business expenses, and healthcare expenses. Learn what the institutions know, how money works, and how you can avoid the pitfalls of poor planning while getting the maximum spendability of your money. Get online at www.barrywaxler.com and get your copy of Stop Bleeding Cash. Or call my office today and get your copy at 1-800-341-5433. Again, that's 1-800-341-5433. I know you'll say what so many of my new clients tell me over the years. Why didn't my advisor tell me that?
Taking care of business. Woo! Taking care of business. Taking care of business. Taking care of
Welcome back to Close Up on San Diego Business, where we're looking at homegrown businesses close up. I'm your host, Barry Waxler, here on financialnewsandtalk.com with the lovely and talented Andrea Kaye and my co-host, Urban Miyares. I always love it whenever I say that, I just see Andrea light up. So.
Oh, it's just a shame that there's not a camera going, because it just makes me so happy to hear Barry talk so nicely of me.
Well, let's welcome our guest today, Craig Cornell from Net Cost Advisors. Welcome, Craig.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me today.
Great. Well, you have an interesting story. Tell us a little bit about Net Cost Advisors, what you do, and how you do it.
Well, we are a consulting firm for the purchase of insurance. We don't sell insurance, and we don't act as brokers. I was a broker for 20 years and started consulting 11 years ago. And the reason I did is that there are several conflicts of interest in the insurance buying process that work against clients. And I was personally no longer comfortable with those conflicts. And so now we sit on the client side of the table and show them how to lower their cost of insurance in a way that doesn't allow those conflicts on the broker side to get in the way.
Mm-hmm. Tell me, there seems to be, if I'm sitting on the other side of the radio today, I would look and say there seems to be not a conflict, but a little confusion. What makes you different than a broker? How does that work?
Well, if I'm a broker, I have relationships with particular insurance companies, and I can't tell my client 2 things. Number one, I can't tell my client about insurance companies that would be good for them that I don't represent. That's number one.
Right.
Number 2, I can't tell my clients the truth about my relationships, good or bad, with particular insurance companies. And for business insurance, because it's determined, the rates are determined in quite a subjective fashion. That's why you have underwriters. They have to make judgments. Because the pricing is so subjective, those relationships with underwriters make a difference. An underwriter that has a relationship with broker A will deliver a much better price than they would for broker B for any number of reasons. Mm-hmm. Could be premium volume, could be loss ratios, could be any number of reasons. But as a broker, I can't be candid with my clients and say, I have a great relationship with ABC Insurance Company, but a bad relationship with XYZ. So you should go to this other broker because they have a great relationship with XYZ. So that's an example of some of the conflicts that work against clients.
Interesting. So if you have a connection to a multitude of carriers that other brokers wouldn't have singularly, how do you get paid?
Well, we get paid because we make it very easy for brokers to bid on the business. So we help the clients put together an application that is perfect. And again, because insurance pricing is so subjective for business insurance, and the reason it's so subjective is if you think about it, no business knows what their losses are going to be in the next 12 months. For workers' compensation, for example, they could be zero, they could be $1 million, or anywhere in between. So underwriters have to make a judgment. Well, what should the pricing be? So that points out how subjective the pricing is for business insurance. And because of that, the quality of the application and the volume of arguments made on behalf of the client have a big impact on whether or not the client realizes a number of quotes and good quotes, where the underwriters really like what they see in the application. So how do we get paid? We help the client put together an application that is perfect. Underwriters tell us when they see our applications, it's top 1% to 2% in the industry, with literally dozens of arguments that most brokers would never put together.
So you don't just hand off a piece of business to a broker to help facilitate it. You actually get involved with the client in putting that together.
Right. Because what insurance company underwriters know that clients don't know is that most applications that they receive are junk, are really poorly put together for a number of reasons. And so we make sure that any broker that comes to bid for the insurance for this client is going to have in their hands an application that's perfect, that will generate the best response from the most underwriters, driving down prices by generating more quotes and more aggressive quotes.
That's fabulous, because what I see of what you do not only addresses business for the client, not only saves the client money, but it also puts a different spin on the broker that actually wins the business, because now the broker looks much cleaner in the eyes of the underwriter, because you and I both know underwriters look at each broker independently. They know who's writing the business.
That's right. And it also allows us to bring in, frankly, better brokers to bid on the business than the client would normally see. Because the best brokers in the industry, as they build their book of business, they usually decide over time to compete for business less and less. They try to take accounts over on broker of record. They just tell the client, let me handle your entire account without competition. We go out and we find really talented, successful brokers, and we say, listen, the application's all done. Your chance of winning is very high because we have a great application. And oh, by the way, you put in no work. You simply send the applications to the underwriters and wait for the quotes to come back. And so for the broker, the risk reward for the broker is a much more attractive proposition when the submission, the application is all complete and done for them.
That's fabulous.
Insurance is such a big part of business today, more so than when I first started out, years ago, decades ago now, they say. And whether you're in a business or so that's, your accountant tells you to take this percentage or that percentage of your anticipated growth. As a startup business, your insurance costs generally are higher because you have no track record or a proven record behind it. So your service is tremendous. To me, the startup business that really doesn't know yet what their insurance costs are going to be.
Right.
Yeah. You're listening to Close Up on San Diego Business here on KFSD AM 1450 and financialnewsandtalk.com. I'm your host, Barry Waxler, here with my co-hosts, Andrea Kaye and Urban Miyares, and our guest, Craig Cornell.
So is it strictly workers' comp, or what are all the different types of insurance that you work with?
What products would you work with?
Well, we work with all the commercial lines of business, property, liability, automobile, workers' compensation, et cetera. We also have a website we've built, insurancedragon.com, which can help consumers and small businesses. We have 65 short videos up now. We have some tools for small businesses and consumers. They're all free. The videos are free. They will teach businesses in a very narrow, targeted way how to negotiate their own insurance. And so We're really, and eventually we will get into health insurance next year.
But won't that put you out of business if people can negotiate it for themselves?
Well, no, because once we post the videos online, we really don't care if 1,000 people watch the video and never call us, because we know the next person will. We know that we will get enough business that by teaching them in an honest way how to negotiate their own insurance, we will generate their trust, and they will call us.
And you started this business, or you and the founders started this business right here in San Diego, correct?
That's right.
Good. And how far spread do you work? Are you California-based, or do you go to multiple states?
Well, right now we're primarily California, although we write accounts that have international exposure, and we've worked on accounts in other states. But we're really focusing on California, primarily because premiums are so high here.
Right.
And there's a great need for businesses for our services.
Well, is there any type of insurance you don't cover? Import, export, intellectual property?
No, we can handle it all,
Wow.
and we have at different times, and we also have worked with virtually every industry, and so we're really not limited.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. We had talked a little bit about what's coming in the workers' compensation field, either coming or here. Tell us a little bit about what's going on there.
Yeah, unfortunately, in California, the renewals are indicating 25 to 30% average increases right now. It's really frustrating because the reforms that Schwarzenegger put in place in 2004 have largely been torn down, and there are other reasons prices are going up, but significant leaps in pricing are taking place right now in workers' compensation. Not so much on the other lines of insurance, but for California workers' compensation, it's very challenging right now.
And is most of that workers' compensation challenge coming in, let's say, the manufacturing industry, or is it spread out to virtually every job description?
Virtually every job description. It's really systemic. It's not in particular to any industry or industries.
So those who haven't seen it hit their office yet, just sit tight and watch, and we probably should have them talk to you at some point.
Well, or they should go to the website Insurance Dragon, and they can learn how to negotiate, how to make sure they can protect themselves if they don't want us involved. If they like their broker, the website can really help them make sure that they're getting the best representation on the marketplace. It will teach them how to build their own application in a really professional way, which is something we recommend to every client, is to control that application. And the website can guide you as to what the arguments are that you should be making or brokers should be making on your behalf. And as I said before, underwriters would tell you that rarely do the brokers really make a top-flight effort.
Well, so how would somebody, other than the website, and that's, if I recall correctly, www.insurancedragon.com. Is there another website people can get more information from on what you do?
Yeah, Net Cost Advisors was our original company that we built to provide consulting to larger businesses. And so they can reach us either way, through Net Cost Advisors or insurancedragon.com.
Okay. Are there any types of businesses that you really can't help? I can see any business that has a large exposure to workers' compensation needs to talk to you. Are there any types of businesses that you can't help?
Well, I don't think so, but there are businesses where premiums aren't that important. And so, for example, we typically don't work with government agencies because, unfortunately, they don't have much of a focus on driving pricing down. That's just a fact. And also, we've had frustration with nonprofits. Some nonprofits are very sensitive to their insurance costs, and others are not. And also biotech and high tech, typically their premiums are not that significant relative to revenue or profit. So, but those are the only areas we don't help in. And virtually every other industry, whether it's hotels or nursing homes or security guards or auto dealers, construction, we've worked with them all. So.
Yeah. What about the small and micro business? That's fine too. You work with them.
We can give them direction, in particular through the Insurance Dragon website. But we can help any size business right now.
So startups would be a good venture to talk to you before they talk to anybody else.
Yes, and startups really do struggle because, as you mentioned before, Urban, they're small, they don't have a track record, and the marketplace isn't that interested, both the broker marketplace and the insurance company marketplace, so they do need help.
What about bonding?
We can help on bonding, although it's a different issue. It really isn't an issue where you're trying to drive premium down, and that's our focus. Bonding is more of a relationship issue, and typically, as you probably know, once you have a good bonding relationship, you typically don't want to disturb it. So.
Right. Great. Well, we're running short on time. Craig, tell everybody again how they can get a hold of you. If maybe there's some brokers out there that want to talk to you direct, get everybody phone numbers, web addresses again.
Yeah, the best way is through either one of the two websites, insurancedragon.com or netcostadvisors.com.
Great. Well, Craig, I appreciate you spending time on our show today. I'm Barry Waxler. You're listening to Close Up on San Diego Business, where we get up close and personal with homegrown San Diego businesses and the people that are working to make a difference in our community. This is financialnewsandtalk.com. I'm your host, Barry Waxler, with our co-hosts, Andrea, Kaye, and Urban Myers. Thanks for listening. We will talk to you next week.